Good Thursday morning, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new episode of your favorite Deacon Show. As always, I just want to start off by just saying, God bless each and every one of you. May your family and your household be blessed tremendously. And may God show you favor over everything that's in your life. Everything. I always give a weather report from the city of St. Louis, which is where we're broadcasting from, and my hometown. Today temperatures are in the, I believe, 40s. Right now it's dreary. It's been raining a little bit throughout the morning, and it is cold. It's cold. The Ferguson unrest is still the same. Not too much has changed from yesterday, or matter of fact, this whole week has been pretty calm. And I know that Eric Gardner's case has been drawing national attention the last day because of the grand jury. They're also not indicting the officer for the chokehold death put on Mr. Gardner by a New York City Police Department officer is drawing a lot of attention right now, and people are protesting. But what's good about this protest is they're doing it non-violently, and that's the way that majority of us would like to see it. Protesters non-violently. And I understand why they're protesting, and our Deacon do have his own, I got my own opinion of what's going on, but we don't want to make this show about that. I want to keep this show on the same platform daily. I just want to give you an update because I've been getting questions, because I live in St. Louis, about Ferguson and my opinion about Ferguson, and I don't want to make this broadcast into that, opinionated on the Ferguson situations. There's enough of that going around now. So that's my take. How do I stay sober is going to be the discussion today. People want to know that, how have I stayed clean and sober for the last 20 years? And I'm going to take a little time out today to just share with you the things that I've done to stay sober. As you all know, I was a drug addict from the time I was 15 years old until I turned 40. And everything that goes with being a drug addict, I've been associated with, from people to prison to doing crazy stuff to get the drugs. I started off as an alcohol drinker, as most of the youth do. I started off drinking alcohol, beer, wine, Colt 45. I was drinking Rosie O'Grady and Mad Dog and Ripple Red and some of those kind of drinks. And then it progressed to marijuana. I smoked marijuana, hash. I took all kinds of pills, red devil, blue devils, Christmas trees, you name them. I took them. I also, at one time in my life, I drank a lot of cough syrup, Robitussin, AC. I used to get high off of that, put a Valium with the Robitussin, AC, and I had a knob that was out of this world. That's the closest thing that ever came close to my feeling that I had on heroin. And so, as I said, it went on for 25, 30 years of this nonsense, in and out of prisons, in and out of jail, in and out of the workhouse. I got locked up so much, I got tired. So finally, in the year of 1994, I had finally reached enough. I had a birthday in July that I had said to myself, if I could make it past this birthday, I was going to stop. I was going to give it up. And I know my birthday in 1994 was on a Sunday. And I had been working this temporary service that pays you for the job every day. And I was getting high every day. And I saved that week's money, some of that week's money, to just go on a binge on my birthday. And I did that. Shot a lot of drugs on the 15th of July. I smoked a lot of weed. I did some cocaine. And I was just a mess. And at the end of my run, I was using cocaine and heroin together. They called it speedball. And man, that was an awesome high. Now, the one thing that I can actually say that you guys probably won't understand is during my run as a drug addict, there were times that I really had some fun. I had some good people in my life. Some of my friends were just that, some friends. They would do anything with me and for me. And today, some of those guys are still my friend, and the majority of us all have gotten sober. And let me tell you how I became sober. I went into treatment the 17th of July, 1994, and I went into treatment at the VA hospital in St. Louis. And my second night there, I asked God to take the drugs and the alcohol away. Like so many of you have done in the past, I guess I used the same prayer that you have used. I asked God to take it away, and I would serve Him. And He took it away. And when He took it away, I had to stand on my commitment that I had made, that I would serve Him. And I think it was I had got out of the treatment center and I went into a homeless shelter. And on the second day there, which was a Saturday, I went to a church picnic. And at this church picnic, I was accepted by the church for who I am and who I was. They hugged me, they fellowshiped with me, I was ministered to, and it just was a nice feeling. Nice feeling, because I was thinking that I would be rejected. And the next day was Sunday, and I went to that same church. And while I was there, I got a word that's just stuck with me. As the preacher talked about being thankful, he said that every time he think, he thank. Every time he think, he thank. And that was a hitting for me, man. I thought about that I started thinking about what God was doing in my life right then, some of the things that He had taken away, and I got to thanking God right there on the spot. And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. My life took a different turn right then. I didn't want to do wrong anymore. And that following week at that homeless shelter, we had to do some work to be there. You know, it was actually a 13-month program, a rehabilitation program that I had joined, and we had to work every day, do something to make that mission and shelter operational. So I was listening to other people that were there saying things that just didn't make sense to me anymore. They didn't want to work. They were complaining about the work, the food, the hours, and I found myself not wanting to engage in those conversations. I had got a Bible, and I started to read the Bible. And at that time, I was interested in stories of the Bible, so I was reading a lot of the Old Testament. And the Old Testament was coming to life into my life. I was actually seeing some of the stories I was reading about. And it was starting to take effect on my life. But while I was at the shelter, I actually started going to 12-step meetings, NA meetings, and the fellowship that I was getting from the meeting with the people was just awesome. They were awesome. I had people that were just like me, that was in my corner, that was giving me good advice, that was calling me, coming to get me and take me to meetings, meeting me at meetings, and it was just, man, it was just good. And I had a couple friends that actually were my get high buddies, and we were raised together. From, I guess, when I look back on time, we were kids together. We actually played marbles and things together in the alley. You know, we threw darts together. We rolled tires together. We played baseball. And these guys were saved. They had a couple years of sobriety on me, and these guys, they stuck with me. They pulled me, and I started to be successful. I learned about people, places, and things. I learned that I had to stay away from people, some people. I had to stay away from some places, and I had to stop doing some things. And let me tell you, all three of those wasn't that easy to do, but I had to practice it to put it into effect. I started to realize that it was just some people that I couldn't hang around anymore, especially the ones that were doing drugs and still doing alcohol. I just couldn't be around them, and I couldn't go to the places that I used to visit when I was getting high. Even my own neighborhood, I stayed away from it. And my mother lived there, and my mother told me something that was just heart-wrenching for me. It was hard. She said to me to stay away from the neighborhood, and I told my mom that meant I had to stay away from her. And she said that was fine. I could call her on the telephone because she wanted me out of that drug situation. She wanted me out of them prisons and being locked up. She told me how she wouldn't sleep at night until I came into the house because she was worried about me getting shot and gunned down, and the police ringing the doorbell and telling her that I was dead, to come to the morgue to identify me. And I was hurt just to hear my mom tell me those things, because in my addiction, I never thought about that. I only thought about me. I used to tell myself something that was insane and crazy, that I was only hurting myself. Come on, y'all. I was doing more than hurting myself. I was hurting and affecting everybody around me, everybody that was kin to me. I missed 2 of my brother's weddings. They got married and I wasn't there. So don't tell me what wasn't affecting others. It wasn't just affecting me. It was affecting everybody around me. I had a son that it was affecting. My son, I didn't really know where he was at that time. All I know is that I had him until he was 5 years old. Then I went to prison for 7 years, and I lost connections with him. And then I went back for another year, and I still lost connections with him. Didn't get a connection to my son again until I think it was 2005. It was 2004 that we reconnected. So I was hurting him too because I wasn't in his life. And my son passed in 2009, and I thought about the times that we had together. There was this last year that we connected again for a year, and it went well. And when I asked him that, did he remember the situations that I used to be in, and my God, he said he didn't know nothing about all that. He heard some things, but he never saw it, and he never even tripped on it. So that was surprising to me. But I started doing things different. Things that I used to do, I didn't do it no more, man. I didn't do them things, man. I knew I had to work. I knew I had to stay in church. I knew I had to stay around positive people. So I started doing things I wasn't used to doing. I joined a choir and traveled around with my pastor when he went to different churches to minister. The choir followed, and I followed. I stayed connected with a minister that was mentoring me. He gave me a lot of knowledge, and he gave me a lot of help. And he was covering addict too. So I started doing things that was just different. But I grabbed hold to God and His Word. And I never forget that I grabbed Matthew 6:33, and it became a part of my life. And it says, but seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And another version I like was, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all things shall be added to you. I like that version because first thing I did when I was in treatment after seeking help was I went to God for help. I started seeking kingdom first, man. I put all that stuff that I used to do in the back burner, man. I got rid of it. You couldn't talk me into doing nothing crazy no more. I just wasn't going to do it. And I had my own saying that I followed. If it ain't right, I'm not with it. And I carry that into this day. And I'm trying to give this to you guys too. If it ain't right, I'm not with it. Carry that thing with you, man. And when people try to lead you into doing the wrong things, tell them, man, this ain't right. I'm not with it. Stand on it and walk away. Stand on it and walk away. And it says His kingdom and His righteousness. And I took that just for what it says. His righteousness, doing right things. Doing the right things that God has told us to do. Letting God direct my path. And it said all these things will be added unto you. If you seek God in His righteousness, man, He gonna add a lot to your life. That's how I stay sober. I continue to do the things that I was doing when I first got clean. Man, I haven't gotten away from none of it. None of it. I'm still in church. I'm still in Bible study still. I'm doing evangelism. I'm there every Sunday that I could make it. I'm always in church. I'm still teaching classes. What's changed? I'm still being there early on the mornings on Sunday to open up the church, to get it open. What's changed? I'm still ministering to the people. I'm still on a parking lot greeting people as they come in. I'm at the door greeting as people come in. I'm listening to people when they're going through different troubles. I'm trying to help them through. I'm pulling people that can't walk the